Thank you so much for joining us. To each and every one of you guys that do not know, my name is Apostle Eli. I'm the pastor and apostle of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in African tradition. I want to say hello to each and every one of you guys. Y'all know I teach universal laws on my channel. I want to say to you guys, thank you so very much for your support. As above, so below. This is my day of power. I am a Sagittarius, moon in Aries, and rising sign is Pisces. And thank you so very, very much for each and every one of you guys that are being notified that Apostle Eli is live. Thank you so much. There goes my eldest son on TikTok. To each and every one of you guys that desire to learn how to practice the ATRs, I want to discuss something today and to share some of my experience and some of my knowledge. I am live on all of my platforms at this particular time, and I want to send salutations to my madrina, Woo, y'all came in there pretty fast and strong. Hold on. All right, let me acknowledge first of all, we got Unveiling Ann, Pisces, Mama Susan. Then I got my baby Scorpio. Then I got Kiera Pisces, my baby Pisces. Then I got my Boaz Pisces, and then I got Latadra Taurus in the house. And then I got my Aquarius, Janine Wise. What's up there? All right, Danielle Gregory. All right, Aquarius from Alabama. If this is your first time in my live TikTok and to my TikTok family, post your zodiac sign and where you from. Y'all know I like to communicate with my listening audience. I want to share some, what's up, Minister Mario, son of Ochosi, Crown. To all of you, the guys that know the process about I'm endeavoring to go through in a little bit, I want to share this with you guys. To those that understand universal laws, that do not understand universal laws, I'm going to share a little bit here today. What's up there, my Cancer, Karen Cotright in the house. When it comes down to spirit, all right, Pisces, I see you over there from North Carolina. Thank you. I appreciate. I give out simple instruction. We should be struggling to follow simple instruction, but we want to do heavy and strong conjure. Woo, we got a lot to learn. So one of the things that to those that do not know, what's up there, Natasha Foster, my Aquarius from North Carolina. Those that do not know, I am Apostle Eli. I have been doing spirituality and magic since I was a child. I'm 50 years old, melanated man, and I have been doing conjure work professionally since 13 up under my spiritual dad. I am a person that I'm very passionate about the things that I do, and one of the things that I want to discuss today, and in hopes of helping many of you on your spiritual journey, and that is whether you work with me or not. If you work with any spiritual practitioner of the ATRs, this is going to help you tremendously. And if you grew up in the church and you no longer want to have nothing to do with the church, but you still believe in God, this is going to help you as well. If you are in the church and you want to continue to practice the ATRs of your conjure, whether it's E5 Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Palo, Mystic, Ajay, whether you want to be an Eastern Star, I'm going to help you today, okay? I want to give you clarity because I do not teach my lives for children. I teach it for grown people. Grown people make decisions. Grown man, woman, don't care if you're gay, straight, bi, rich, poor, educated, uneducated. This universal law applies to each and every one of us if you are trying to learn. I do realize that everybody that get into this and listens to it ain't trying to learn nothing. They got their own ways of doing things, but I have been doing this professionally for a very long time, and I try to share as much as I can without divulging the mysteries of the ATRs unless you're an initiate in a particular ATR. I also want to talk about something today before I get into segue into what I was going to talk about. These are the cards that I read from. These are the 72 names of God. Good morning to you as well. Technology of the soul. Those are cards that I do read from. I also want to say hello to Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Aquarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Leo, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, and Virgo. Hello to each and every one of you guys. And thank you for being a part of my YouTube family. And thank you to each and every one of you guys that have been a blessing to my crowning and the process thereof. I want to share something with you today that I know that if you are truly trying to excel in hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, any of these ATR, that this is going to apply and this is going to be something helpful and give you a better perspective. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to be talking about working with the saints, okay? But I want to say this first of all to my new clients, to prospective clients. I want to apologize. First of all, I want to apologize from the church. I'm a pastor and apostle of my own ministry. There has been so much deceit and lack of accountability when it comes to spirituality that a lot of you guys grew up with a lot without having. You go to church, you go to conferences, you go to events, you got ordained, and there's just certain things you do not know, and a lot of the ignorance that was taught put a lot of you guys in harm's way, and not because you wanted to, but because how you were raised and how they have formulated and demonized the ATRs, even though themselves are practicing the ATRs. Okay, I've been in ministry a very long time at the age of 19, and there's a lot of pastors and preachers out here that practice the ATRs and they preach against it in their church. I get all that. I also understand that there's a lot of people that practice the ATRs and they don't call it the ATR. They don't call it hoodoo. They call it reading the Psalms. They don't call it voodoo. They call it calling on the Spirit. They don't being filled with the Spirit. Just because you do not label something doesn't make it not what it is. You don't ever have to call sugar for it to be sugar and be sweet. You understand? What I do with my teaching, I try to make it sober-minded. I try to make it rational. I try to give a grown people a chance to process the information and come to their own conclusion. Like Paul said, you got to be persuaded in your own mind. It is not my job to persuade you. It is my job to build the case where you can gain the information and then you start making smarter decisions for yourself, where you're no longer blaming the elders or other preachers and teachers that are not giving you the information. I am going to share some stuff with you on today. Now, I also want to talk about this to segue into what I want to teach today on my day of power. I do realize that just like in natural relationships, a lot of you guys come from abusive relationships that we don't label abusive and dysfunctional. We also come from spiritual abusive relationships and dysfunction. Okay? The reason why I'm saying that, because some of you guys have come from other practitioners and other belief systems. So, Chastity, I didn't see you, Chastity, my Leo. She said, you don't have to persuade me, teach me, conjure. All right, back. Much love to you. Now, I do realize that sometimes people do things just like parents. People can't teach you no more than what they know, right? So there are conjurers and spirits out there that are genuinely not trying to deceive you. They're only telling you or teaching what they were taught. And so therefore they're handing down whether it's correct or not. But there are other people out there that are just out there to make money, just like in the church. There are pastors and leaders out there are just out there to make money. And so therefore they're not interested in your spiritual growth, evolution, and none of that. And that's why I do apologize. But I want to say this. I don't care how much good intention I may have out here. I cannot take on the baggage of abusive relationships that you've had in the past. And to be fair to not only me, but any other spiritualist that is out here genuine in the ATR, that because somebody else mishandled you, your funds, or your situation, it still does not warrant us to be, because guess what? Broken people break other people, try to break other people. Hurt people try to hurt other people. People that have been schemed try to scheme other people. So energy out, energy in. This is why cleansing is so very, very important. Do not jump, just like you don't jump into a new relationship after being in an abusive relationship. The same thing is true with a spiritual relationship, because this is the kind of stuff that a lot of times as a spiritualist, you spending more time trying to deal with the mental abuse or the mental conceptions that somebody got out of a previous spiritual relationship they had with somebody else, and we're not the same. We all have the same ashay from the same spirit, but different gifts, different administration, and our gifts operate differently, and that needs to be considered. You shouldn't be out here comparing me to another spiritualist, because if they don't have my gifts, my talent, or my experience, then they cannot do or function in the capacity that I do. So a lot of times we try to lump everybody in the same bowl, and I blame the church for that, because nobody is the same. Nobody is the same. When you go to certain colleges, depending on what that college is trying to is known for, whether it's athleticism, whether it's academics, whether it's law or whatever, that's why you should be up under a particular type of tutelage. Okay? Knowing who you are, knowing your ashay, knowing your chi, what your ancestors practice, is a safety not for you, not just for you, but for the practitioner. I tell people all the time, universal law affects us all, but your destiny is what it is. And your capabilities are given you. You need to know your measure of faith, your measure of gift. You need to know your measure of knowledge. You need to know all that stuff. So when you hear something or something resonates with you, you should know how far you need to go with that in that particular situation. So I do apologize for a lot of the abuse that has gone on in the spiritual community. But at some point, I cannot continuously take on the mess if you're not willing to correct that. Okay? How you, Bobo? How you doing? Much love. What's up, Curtis, my Gemini? Long time no see. Much love to you, sir. Now, I came on here on a day of power to actually try to help you. And I want you to understand, your lineage is what it is. How you venerate your lineage has a lot to do with what they practice. So I want to talk about something today that I want y'all to actually get something out of working with people like me. And it has a lot to do with how they set up, the type of spirits that follow them. Whether it's Loas, whether it is Impungos, whether it is Orishas, whether it is saints, whether it is ancestors, both or all of the above. God, goddesses, because a lot of times people come with an army of spirits. Sometimes people come with one spirit. Some people come with one type of spirit. And there are all these type of people out there. But when you, as a grown man or woman, are constantly putting everybody in the same boat, that's a level of ignorance on your behalf, because nobody is the same. Twins are not even the same, okay? The Medjis, not the same. They still twins. They work together in unison. Gemini, twins, not the same. The left side of the brain, the right side of the brain. Masculine energy, feminine energy, okay? Now, this is a book some of you may have, some of you may not have this book. It's called The Miracle Power of the Saints. Some of us got books called The Power of the Saints. I want to explain something. Okay. You have that. Okay, let me break this book down. Now, first of all, let's define. My subject is working with the saints. Okay. Now, this is going to cover Catholicism, Voodoo, 21 Division, and Christianity, and quite a few other ATRs that work with saints. Okay. We call them different things, but at the end of the day, I'm going to give you the definition so we have a better understanding. When people that practice Catholicism practice a watered down version of Voodoo. Simple as that. 21 Division, this cover all of that, okay? First of all, a saint is a person acknowledged as holy or sacred or virtuous, and typically regarded as being in heaven or seated in heavenly places after death. So to work with the saints is to understand that this person is in a spiritual place in the heavens, okay? What we call heaven, all right? It's just the higher self. But we're going to call it, for the sake of people understanding, especially my Christian, we're just going to call it heaven, even though it's the higher version of self. So these people are seated in heavenly places. Now, those that are practicing with the saints or working with saints, we know that every saint does not have the same capabilities, okay? Now, I myself are going to be working with Saint Jude. This is the candle that I'm going to be working with today. This is what gave me to come on here to talk about this. This is Saint Jude, Thaddeus, okay? There's another Saint Jude, but this one deals with impossibilities, okay? And this one I work with a lot. The author is Reverend. Let me put it up here for you, sweet. Reverend Ray. Here. Maybe you can screenshot it off of here. But it'll be on my YouTube channel. So if you ain't on my YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel, and this is the book. That's the author. So you can get it from there. So this is Saint Latin. Now these candles come in all kind of colors, and the reason why they come in different colors is because there's a difference between venerating that particular saint, right? Venerating that particular saint because that may be their color, or the situation that you are petitioning that spirit, you will utilize that particular color. Now, why am I talking about this? First of all, in order to work with the saints, I'm going to come from 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter. Y'all know I always got me some hoodoo Bible for to help you. Jesus isn't God. Son of God. We don't believe in Jesus. We believe in Yahshua. Anyway, so I don't know what that means. Anyway, people like conflict. They're not trying to learn. They just want conflict. Stay focused. 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter, 11 through 15. Now it said, and it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. In other words, this particular chariot came between Elijah and Elisha. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into the heavens. So verse 12 says, and Elisha saw it and cried, my father, my father. Now he's talking to Elisha. He calling Elijah. That's when you call your padrino, your godfather, your elder. You're acknowledging them. This is he calling to him. It says, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them into two pieces. In other words, when you go through certain ceremonies, it's a dying off. He's renting his clothes. He's tearing off this old man, his old way of doing things, his old way of seeing himself. Because now he's taking off of his garment and he's trying to place on the garment of Elijah. This is important, y'all, if you're going to work with the saints. Here it goes. It said, he took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the banks of Jordan. Verse 14 said, and he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and smote the waters, and said, where is the Lord God of Elijah? And when he had also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elijah went over. Verse 15, very, very important. And when the sons of the prophet, qualified people to know whether this is true or not, which were to view at Jericho, saw him, they said, the spirit of Elijah doeth rest upon Elisha. And they came to him to meet him, and bowed themselves to the ground before him. Now, this is what I want to explain to all of you that claim that you work with 21 divisions, you work with certain spirits and ancestors. First of all, what verses? We are dealing with 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter, 11 through 15. So first of all, in Catholicism, in the 21 divisions, in Christianity, and any others particular, thank you so much. I appreciate that love. Any other ATR that deals with saints or spirits of higher descent. First of all, a spirit has to, a person has to have a relationship with the divine before they pass. Okay? In order to work with a spirit in the Catholic Church, a saint, once that saint dies, or pope or whatever dies, then those that petition that saint, there has to be a certain level of manifestations before they saint or claim that that particular saint is divine. Okay? So there has to be people that can qualify or verify that that particular energy, frequency, or vibration is at work. Just because you go get a candle, because you go get a veve, because you go get a sigil, just because you go get something that represents that particular entity or that particular saint, does not mean that that particular spirit works with you or work alongside with you. And that's why this is important. When you're doing conjure, when you're doing real magic, first of all, Elisha could have confidence in the spirit and the power of Elijah because he was walking with him. You can't get into something just because you heard about Oshun, or just because you heard about Babaluaye, or just because you heard about Dambala, or just because you heard about Saint Teresa, or Saint Jude, or Saint Expedite. That doesn't mean you have a relationship. This is why when we do conjure, we always try to work with ancestors or with people that you already had a relationship before they cross over into the ancestral realm or into sainthood, if they are an elevated ancestor. Okay? This is so important. You cannot just say because you grabbed a candle and you put a petition out. This Elijah already had confidence in the power of Elijah before he ever died. Understanding the person's lifestyle by which you are petitioning is important. You cannot walk in a certain level of confidence in an ancestor or a saint when you yourself are not connected. The reason why you initiate up under a Tata, a Mambo, a Hugon, or elder is because they are supposed to already be a priest or priestess of that particular saint, Loa and Kisi and Pungo and so forth. They're sharing that energy or relationship with you and giving you that personal connection. Okay? Y'all understand? Thank you, Cosmic Bender. I think that's what I said. Yeah, okay. And why is this important? Because you're not going to have the confidence in a particular saint that you don't have a relationship or you don't understand the type of energy or manifestation that particular saint. Because guess what? Books don't tell everything. Videos don't tell everything. People that actually work with those spirits can tell you how those spirits really work because they're actually dialoguing and they're communicating back and forth with that particular energy. That's why trying to learn conjure outside of eldership, outside of some type of relationship with somebody that is already initiated or already chosen by the divine mother or father, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity to have a certain level of confidence and manifestation. That's just real talk. So then, so not only did Elisha have that, then what happened in the particular scripture, there was an agreement made with between Elijah and Elisha that if he sees him being taken away, see, this is what gets people. There's always a contract or a type of commitment between you and that entity. And the agreement was, if Elisha saw Elijah being taken away, then he would get a double portion of his anointing. Okay? Then after he saw him taken away, that the Bible says that Elisha called to. A part of true spiritual development is paying homage. A lot of times you guys want to get into these ATRs up on the leaders or whatever, and you want to learn certain things, and then you want to bypass them, disrespect them, whatever. It don't work like that. Elijah acknowledged the covenant. Don't forget me. Remember, I saw you. That was our agreement. When we're working with spirits, we can always go back to those spirits because of the agreement that was made in the beginning of the initiation. You understand? I need y'all to really get that. Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Mystic, Ajay. Contracts are made in order to secure not only the person being initiated, but the people that have to cover them. So when certain things happen, those particular elders, male or female, can go back to that entity or that spirit and say, I need you to heal my godson or heal my goddaughter or protect my God, because they have a covenant. They have a relationship. They have an agreement. Thank you, Brother Johnny, for the love offering. What's up there, Monique 444? If it was so simple to become a saint or to have this relationship, everybody would be out here manifesting with Saint Teresa, would be out here manifesting with Ogun. It's not that sad. And I don't want anybody to constantly get into these things, not understanding it's about relationship. Universal, it's my day of power, the God, King of the God. If you want this, then Elijah says, after he sees him in covenant, then Elijah understands that in order to receive from Elijah, he has to take off Elisha. So he rent or tears off his own garment. Any of you that are getting into these ATRs and you're not willing to give up self, this is not for you. I'm not telling you what to do. I am telling you, you're going to make your journey with people, places, and things extremely hard because it is a sacrifice. Elisha gave up his garment, his identity, who he was, in order to take on the mantle of Elijah. So if you're going to take on the Loa Ezeli Dontor, if you're going to take on Baron Zamzi, if you're going to do Dambala, if you're going to do Zaka, if you're going to do a Metcalfu, 1 and 2, you're going to have to understand that you're coming into a relationship with that energy, and you're going to put that energy on. There are certain times when I'm working with certain spirits, I am no longer myself, and so therefore their temperaments start taking over, and therefore people see different faces in my face, because at that particular time there's another spirit or entity in operation in my temple. Okay, you got to understand that's in order to have a strong, potent, powerful relationship with a saint or working with a saint, you have to be willing to deny yourself and allow that relationship or that bond to take place between you and that spirit. Sometimes people go to the cemetery and they bond with a particular spirit in order for they to build a relationship with that spirit, so that spirit will work. But that spirit can only do what it has the capacity. Now, after he rinsed off his clothes, then he places on the mantle of Elijah, right? All that's good. Here's the thing. To activate the mantle, to activate the relationship, he says, where is the God of Elijah? If you don't know what kind of God or goddess that the saint that you claim to be venerating works with, how can you truly activate the power and the relationship of that particular saint? If you don't know who Saint Jude was calling upon, if you don't know who Baba Luaye or Saint Lazarus is coming, you ain't did your relationship research, or you are not in a coven or elay that will teach you this, then how can you call or activate the mantle that is upon you, or the sigil that you want to work with, or the whatever gree bag, mojo bag, don't matter. How do you get the benefit when you don't know the God or goddess or divine force that that particular saint was in relationship with? Don't tell me I've been out here lighting these candles for no reason. I'm just breaking this down to you because I want y'all to understand it's so important, because it's steps that go through this. It's like somebody just walking up to you out of nowhere and just saying, hey, auntie. Guess what? You might be their auntie. You don't even, but you can't acknowledge them because you don't know them. You don't have a relationship with them. Even if that is your bloodline, it's still about building a relationship with that particular entity. Y'all have a cordial relationship. Y'all have an intimate relationship. That spirit visited you. That spirit has access to you, your house, your children. That spirit will move for you. But you just grabbing up a candle and saying, okay, St. Jude, or okay, Baba Luaye, or okay, I got a name up here on this one, so I'm gonna block this out. Or I have this triple thread candle, and you just make sure I got the name. Yeah, I got the name covered up. The triple thread candle, and I'm just gonna do some. It don't know if it was that simple. That's why a lot of you guys, when you work with spiritual practitioners, you go in there demanding. Because if you really understood working with saints or working with spirits, you know that that is an individual that used to live on this earth, and you cannot talk to spirit and demand anything. You can petition them or ask them to help you, and they decide whether they're going to help you. And then you follow my padrino sent me some things that he needed in order to do a particular work. That's how this works. If you ask certain things or you want certain things done, then there's certain instructions spirit is going to give you, and then you go and take care of that in order for that thing to get done. If you're trying to travel out and you ain't got no gas, you got to stop by the gas station. And the process of stop by the gas station, you might pick up some snacks, something to drink. Sometimes you might not get nothing to drink, you might go to the bathroom, whatever. But there are things that take place when you're working with entities, spirits, saints, that you need to understand. So now Elijah activates the mantle by acknowledging the force, the power of what Elijah was operating. Now Elijah, like Medifun Oya behind me, my head Orisha, my saint, rules on Thursday, because Elijah is considered in the pantheon calling a fire down from heaven, which is lightning, which would be like Shango or any other entity that Zeus that deals with lightning. You understand? So depending on your particular pantheon practice of that particular Orisha, what was in your bloodline, how y'all communicated with that particular spirit or entity. I don't try to. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry, I can't even read your comment because it was getting in the But on my platform, I want people that practice 21 divisions, Christianity, Catholicism, Voodoo, and some of the other ATR, because there's so many of these ATR that work with saints. Now, remember, we said that these are individuals that live. Now, to all of my Christian buddies, if you don't believe you practice this type of conjure, 12 disciples, which did not exist, represent energy. The 12 disciples that did not exist, but represent energy, or the zodiacs. And Jesus, or Yahshua, we call him, but it was an entity that once was living and died. So anytime that you are venerating Yahshua, the Christ himself, which means that he's sitting down at the right hand of the Father. Remember, Yahshua said he's the first from the dead. Right? So all of you that don't believe that you deal with necromancy, if you are calling or utilizing the name of Jesus Christ or Yahshua or Emmanuel or Hosanna, you are venerating a spirit that was living, died, and was resurrected on the other side. So he's sitting at the right hand of the Father like a saint, making intercessions for the saints. So there are ascended masters, there are other spirits that ascend beyond just being a saint. And they are actually able to work for other saints, okay? So when you are trying to learn conjure, now, the reason why I want to talk about verse 15 is, do not take an offense what I'm going to say. But I'm going to say it like this. You don't want to be out here saying that a particular spirit, entity, Loa, Impungo, Orisha, Moreto, Egun, is walking with you without some verification of other qualified people. Elisha was acknowledged and they bowed down to Elisha because they saw the spirit of Elijah upon him. Okay? You just can't be out here saying that Dambala with you, Ogun with you, Ezeli with you, Zarabanda with you, this and that and that. And there's nobody that is of that particular faith or walk that is verifying that energy, that frequency, that it is resting on or in your life. Whoa, now that was good. So think about this. Verification is not just for the people, it's for you as well. Anything that I work with has been confirmed, and it's been confirmed by other sources, because it doesn't matter what divinational tools are utilized. At the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, the truth is the truth. If you got it, you got it. If you're a pretty man or a handsome man or a beautiful woman, it don't matter if they can't even, you don't even speak their language. Everybody recognize a pretty face. Everybody recognize a well-built man or woman. You don't have to be able to speak somebody's language, understand their economic background to identify. So even in other traditions, they have verified other things that are walking with me and assist me, or sometimes inside of me, because y'all, I am a medium myself. So there are spirits that flow in and out of me, okay? But it is not something I am going around and saying, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I got this, I got that. Other elders of these faith and belief systems have verified it. And let me tell y'all something. It doesn't mean that people are not going to try you. This ain't nothing about that. This is about you having a relationship and being able to work with that spirit and being confident that that spirit is with you. This is why they do misas. This is why they do seances. This is why they do any type of ancestral veneration, to verify what kind of spirit, if any, or how many are walking with a said individual, so that person knows what they're working with in their spiritual court. That is for your benefit. And so if you decide to work in a public forum with your spirit, you know what they have the capability of doing when it comes to protection, love work, conjure, money work, reversal work. You know what type of, do you got warrior spirits? All that matters, because every spirit or saint ain't a fighter. Just saying. So when you want to truly work with the saint, and let me tell y'all something. I've been out here a very long time, not on social media for a very long time, but I have been doing this since I was a child. I'm 50 years old. There's enough practitioners in E5, Voodoo, Santeria, Lukumi, Congo, that can say, you know what, this man don't know what he's talking about. This man, this makes no sense. They know I know what I'm talking about. What I need y'all to understand is, if you're getting involved, go into understanding you have to build a relationship. If you want that particular Loa or that particular Impungo or that particular ancestor to be strong with you, you have to feed and build that. It's just like a natural relationship. And at the end of the day, that spirit cannot do no more than it has the capacity. Because some of y'all, even though you got a spirit with you or spirit, you act like your spirits are all powerful and they can do anything. And that, sir, ma'am, ain't the truth either. There are some of us are diversified by the divine mother and father that we can do multiple things. And there's some people, like my spiritual dad told me at 13 years old, you're going to be able to do any kind of work. You're going to be able to do light work and dark work. That's how you set up. Not only, he told me, said, I would not even take out my time to teach you if you did not have that spirit with you. But the type of spirit you have with you can do light or dark. They'll do whatever you wanted to do. I've been knowing, I'm 50 years old. What kind of relationship do you think I have built over all these years? So when you out here practicing, you got to be grounded in your intellect and not speaking beyond your bank account deposit. Don't be out here saying that your spirit can do this and that there when they ain't even did it for you. Remember, charity still started at home. But getting validation, I use the wrong word, not validation, verification of spirits is to your benefit. Can we find this in a reading with you? There are certain readings and things but those type of readings, sometimes ancestors come up, but I'm being very honest with you. You want to do those readings in person. But if there are certain people, like I deal with the dead a lot, so I do a lot of invocation. So it works for me, but I don't want y'all to think that everybody do that. But you should always want to, at some point, be one-on-one with your spiritualist. You want to have a personal relationship. Even to be a good side piece, you need to have some type of relationship, and a certain schedule. Well, the same thing when it comes to your spirits or your saints. You don't want to be only going to St. Jude when you need something. You know what I'm saying? You want at some point to have a healthy relationship, and you go and say, listen, this is what I want. I set this person, their petition in front of you. Do this. Could you do this for them? Blah, blah, blah. For me. Because there are times that I had to utilize my spiritual credit for certain people because they had messed up their life. Spirits did not want to work for them. So I had to spiritually co-sign for certain people, for spirits to do certain things for them. I'm going to tell y'all right now, don't get out here listening at these other people and start disrespecting these spirits because they're not moving or getting along the way that you want. Your knowledge is so uplifting. I recently crowned Shango. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm learning how to work with him more. Exactly. And let me tell y'all something. When you're dealing with the Orishas, my love just got recently crowned Shango. Now, a female getting crowned male. That's why I told y'all earlier about spirits don't see gender. It's energy, frequency, and vibration. Now you got to understand where Shango exists in nature. The palm trees. Understand why he's crowned. Understand the stories behind that, so you understand your nature. And remember, your crown is aligned with that particular saint, because that's what they call making the saint. When you get crowned, you become that saint. Okay, a priest or a priestess of that particular saint. And understand, but doesn't mean you don't deal with the other Orishas. I don't know why people. It's like I don't know why when people get crowned or they get initiated in with Baron some Z, that they throw out the other Loas. Okay, you might have entered into the family through an uncle. You might entered into the family through an auntie or a cousin because they had kids, but you still a part of the family. Doesn't really matter how you got into the family, whether you got in through Oshun or whether you got in through Dambalav or Obatala. You still a part of that pantheon. And those saints talk. The Orishas, the spirits talk. The saints talk. Some saints don't know other saints because it's a lot of spirits out here, okay? But the reason why I said this and I'm bringing this to your form, I want you to be able to be more respectful to your own energy, your own practice. Understanding you're dealing with the deceased. You're dealing with people that understand your woes. This is why the scripture says we do not have a high priest that have not felt our infirmities or our weakness. It is good when you have an elder or Tata, Hugon or Bokor or any elder of these ATR that go through the same thing you, so they have an understanding of some of your hardships. And the same thing when it comes to the saints. We can petition them because they lived on earth. What happens is, Spirit just walked in front of me. What happens is, some of you guys are messing with spirits that never came to the earth plane, or they never lived on earth, and so therefore they don't see the urgency. See, every spirit that I work with did not live on earth. There are certain spirits that I work with your situation that been here, that understand relationship, that understand straight relationship, bi relationship, gay relationship, understand side piece relationship. Like, I work with a lot of different spirits. So that's why it is important that your practitioner have the time to develop his or her craft so they can service you better. And this is why I say to my babes, do not rush into this, because a part of you being able to help people is to being able to go through things to learn how to help yourself. And you cannot give confidence that you don't have. And you cannot build a confidence with a spirit that you have not developed a relationship with. So this is why I know my energy, I know my frequency, I know my vibration. I understand that I am dealing with saints. I understand that those saints like certain things. And so I'm not just throwing something on a candle on an altar, and I'm not just putting certain things and burning incense. No, I have a relationship with these entities. Cosmic Bender said that makes a lot of sense. I got Capricorn in my spiritual house. Capricorn got to make sense. I turn this into a business, but stuff, if it don't make sense, it don't make dollars. I done said this again. I said it a different way. I said it to my supervisor. If it don't make sense, it don't make change. It should be some type of growth behind things that make sense. If you will listen, you are true. I appreciate it. And I want to explain something to you guys. The word demon or demonic was a made-up term. There's no dark matter, carbon energy. Yes. Demon don't exist. It was a term made up by the Catholic Church. Just like the Catholic Church made up a lot of terminology in order to control things. And I do, but like, listen, I'm going to say it like this. No disrespect to nobody. Just because you sing something don't make it true. You can sing about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, don't make that a true statement. But there's a message in the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. A lot of you guys do not understand that a lot of stuff you've been taught were fables, they were stories, and they did not exist, but the storyline was real. That's why you can watch cartoon and still learn something, because it doesn't matter that the characters are not real. It matters the message that the story was telling. And a lot of you guys done got caught up in physicalities. So, let me explain this. The reason why we use these things right here, these are doorways. Basically, this is a sigil that represent that particular energy, okay? When that spirit or that energy sees this sigil, this signature, then that spirit knows, when we knock on that, that spirit knows the answer. When a practitioner works with a particular entity or being or divine being, it understands. Like, when they see Metafun Oya up here, that very person right there do not understand that there's no such thing as, why did Jesus call them? There was no, first of all, do your research. There was no such thing as a J in the Hebrew alphabet. Okay? So it was never Jesus. The term came out of the Catholic Church. Those were written in because they wanted to demonize This is how we come up with the terminology. That's why I don't really believe in the word witch. It's Ajay, Iyami. We were never, in African culture, there was no such thing called a witch. These are terminology that people did not understand our magic and our spirituality that they came up with. It's just really that simple. No. Listen. I'm not here to argue. Go do your own research, because the whole purpose about my live is grown people understand that they got a right to research. Instead of just throwing out something, they should have an understanding. I understand that when they were teaching me about the boy that cried wolf, that wasn't a real story. But the message was real. The message was authentic. And so therefore, with that being said, okay. I think I heard you. All right. So, like I said, my lives are for grown people, and grown people make decisions for themselves. And so, therefore, these are the things that we operate in. And so, therefore, I want you guys to really understand that when you're working with saints, if you just came in, go back to the beginning of my YouTube video and listen to it. Go do your own research and come to your own conclusion. I don't debate what I live. This is my real life. This is how I live. This is our energy, frequency, and vibration. And depending on the ATR that I utilize to manifest, that's what I do. Okay? All right. If you guys, I'm going to be on a little later to get this done. I got some stuff I need to do. So I want to say first again, if you're on my YouTube channel, my Patreon family, make sure you guys comment up under the video, share this video. Also, certain ma'am, give comment up under the video and give people opportunity to grow. There's a lot of people that do not understand this. What's up, Cassandra? Much love. They do not understand. They do not get what's going on, and so therefore, that's why we in these situations. So hopefully that some of you guys will take a little more time and educate yourself before you come on skilled people's platform and try to divert out of ignorance. So we appreciate you. Much love to each and every one of you guys, and I'll see you guys a little later today on my day of power. If you want me to do the nailing or burn any incense, all you got to do is Cash App and post it, and Minister Mario let me know, and I'll burn it even though I'm not on air. So if that's what you need, make sure you know I got healing incense, better business, high John, oil of gladness, triple threat, peace incense, love incense, roll opening, mental clarity, bot buster, money, guardian angel incense, ancestor, reversal, protection, stop gossip, and courtroom incense. All right. So I got to go and get ready to do these candles, and I got some things. Good afternoon. What's up there, my love? I'll see y'all in a little bit. Don't forget to join my YouTube account.